Right, this ring here is going to need a half a shank, a new band on it. It says here it's been cut off, most probably at a hospital or a doctor's surgery or something like that, or even a jeweller's. But the way they've cut it off, they've just used snips or top cutters to literally cut off the shank itself. So what we have to do is replace the shank with the same colour and the same carat gold as what the rest of the ring is made out of. Now there's not an awful lot left of this ring, so ideally we're going to put it on just over half a shank, perhaps 3/4 of a shank, and we'll price that up accordingly. We have to look to see how it's been cut off, and here it's been snipped off, as I say, with some tin snips or some cutters, and we need to file those edges flat first of all. So we'll just simply file a flat now on either side. Make sure it's at 90 degrees with the rest of the shank here, and make sure it's perfectly flat as well. Now we'll look in our drawer and get some section of gold here, and we'll just see how we're looking at width-wise and depth-wise with this piece of wire. This has been desectioned already. It's just a selection of lengths that I keep in the drawer ready for jobs such as this. It's a little bit deeper than what the ring is, and it's I say about just a fraction wider, and that allows us a little bit of room for error, and we can then file it flush with the piece once the whole shank has been put on. Now, because we've got some diamonds on this ring, diamond in the centre and diamond set shoulders, we do have to take care when we're putting heat on it that we don't get any heat going to the stones, and especially to the rhodium plating that they've applied around the stone detailed shoulder here. So we're going to use some paste. Some people call it cool heat, some call it heat stop, and it is purely or thermogel. It's the name of a brand, and this is just a paste really. It's wet and it's gooey and it doesn't feel very nice, but we're going to put this up onto our block and then sink the ring into it, up to about 2 or 3 millimeters away from the end, and that then will stop any discoloration or any dirt from burning behind the stones. And we literally just pile it on as we have there. Then we will pop the ring into it like that, and we'll just build up the rest of the gel around. You do have to be careful that you don't get any of this gel on the ends of the ring, if you don't want to prohibit any of the soldering. There we go, pack it in nice and tight around that. There we go, like that. And also we do have to be sure that the end of the wire that we have here as well is clean, just been filed. Again, that's at 90 degrees to both angles, ready to be soldered onto the end of the ring here. So we've cut a couple of pieces of solder already. Get our borax and we're just going to paint it onto the end. Pick up a couple of little lines of solder. These are very small, so I'm going to put a couple on there, like that. And we shall solder the shank on. Now, I'm just going to solder the length on in one piece here, and then we shall bend it round and trim it afterwards. So we're just going to hold the shank in our tweezers like this, Manoeuvre the board around until you get the ring just right to solder. A hot flame is what you're going to need on this, because the cool heat or the thermal gel is going to take away some of the heat away. So we're just going to have a slightly hissing flame, which means a very hot flame. I'm just going to heat up the end gently, stopping the solder bubbling off. Now we don't want to apply too much heat onto this wire, or we're going to melt it. So we're just going to see. The solder just moved a fraction, put it back on. We're just going to marry these two up like this and heat it until they solder. Now all the heat I'm actually directing onto the bottom part, the actual ring itself. I'm putting no heat, no flame onto the wire I'm adding. If I did, we'd melt it. Now I'm just going to bring the heat onto it now, like that.